There we go. Okay. This is a special, I wouldn't say episode, I wouldn't say podcast. We're doing this live with Boomcaster through Parade Deck. Parade Deck is the platform for military uh, force multipliers. I like to call them content creators and just awesome fellow veterans. And I'm pleased to have on some special guests tonight. And it's really one of the best aspects of Oscar Mike Radio, where I get to do a show with somebody else sees it, somebody else likes it, and wants to come on and talk about something that's important to them. I talked with Nicole from Elevate Health New Jersey last year, as you'll recall, and now I'm joined by her boss and the owner of Elevate Health, Kristy Davies, and Donna, who works with her. Ladies, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio. We're talking about Tricare reimbursement freezes going on for military families. And this really hits home with me. I understand military families are a core part of your business, and I want to find out more and how we can help you out. Welcome to Oscar Mike Radio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So let's see here. If you're looking at the TV right now, Kristy is on the right and Donna's on the left. I think I got that right, Marine Corps style. Wow. So one of you flip a coin. Let's start with Kristy first. Tell us about Elevate Health. Remind my listeners and watchers what you all do, and then we'll get into how Donna supports all this.
Of course. Yeah. Again, I'm Kristy. I own Elevate Health and Therapeutic Service. We're in New Jersey. We have clinics now. The second was purposely opened. Oh my gosh, I'm losing track of time, but about a year and a half ago, specific to our military families. So we realized that we had such a huge military population at our first clinic. We opened a second one that was closer to them because that was one of the primary concerns. We offer speech language therapy, occupational therapy, audiology services, and services for children with autism. And then we have some specialties in there like augmentative alternative communication and feeding specifically. And we support a very large amount of our military population coming from the base that's close to us.
That was what got me the last time, was just the number of military families you all directly support. Donna, no one fights alone, and it's a pretty big office that you all have down there. How does your role figure into making sure these families get taken care of and you support what Kristy and the rest of the team is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, hi, I'm Donna. I'm actually the practice manager. I have been with Elevate Health for almost 3 years now. I started as a patient care coordinator there while finishing my degree out, and was promoted to client services manager, and then now the practice manager. So I work directly under Kristy. I was there, yes, when we were smaller, and we were just in Mount Laurel, New Jersey at one point. And like Kristy said, about a year and a half ago, we strategically actually opened East Hampton, our second clinic, near the military base to help support those families, because we did have such a large military population. So we were very strategic when we opened that clinic of where geographically we were going to be opening that. So now we're within 10 minutes from the military base. And since then, currently right now, we stand at about a 50% military population, which is amazing. And it constantly increases year by year. But my role is to oversee the clinical operations. So, from both ends. So I oversee all the employees, and then in addition, make sure our patient services our quality is constantly up to par.
What are some of the challenges, ladies, in serving the military population versus, I wouldn't say typical, but a traditional, civilian family, anywhere from a single mom, single dad to a full nuclear family? How does the military experience differ from, that type of care?
I think the challenges are really us just making sure that we can support them the best that we can, right? So it is that transient situation sometimes. or most times. And so knowing and providing that empathy that they are constantly moving, and if they have an individual who needs whatever care that we are providing them, speech, OT, audiology, whatever, just being able to understand, that they are potentially constantly moving, right? So, we've had to write letters on families' behalf to try to support, advocate the moving again, just due to, again, that continuity of care and for progress related to treatment plans or their medical needs. So for me, that's what I would see as, like an area that we're constantly trying to support. Obviously, it's a little out of our hands, clearly, but it is something that we're constantly mindful of, is how can we support them for the time that we have them, knowing that they could have spent all over the world, and then, they're landing in New Jersey, and then how can we make the best out of that?
So Donna, you said your patient care is like 50%. So how many families is that, give or take a few? I mean, if 50% of your business is with one population, they must either A, really find value in the services you all provide, or B, you are truly specialized to deal with that kind of population. So, what's that like?
Yeah. So with it being 50%, that would be like approximately about 100 families at the moment. And again, like I said, that, that continues to grow. It is very special and unique. Like Kristy was mentioning, sometimes they are short-lived moments that they're with us, and sometimes it does tend to be long-term. I think the special part, and my previous background, I actually worked directly for the military on their base doing youth program services. So I'm very familiar with military families. I come from a military family as well, so it's kind of close to my heart as well. But it's really amazing because these families come to our practice, and most of them are deployed here, right? They're stationed here. So they don't have family. They come to our practice, and we kind of become like a second family to them. And that's the ultimate goal, right? That's my mission. That's what I get joy out of. So it's really special connecting with these families, and you're like their safe haven. These moms come in, they hang out in the waiting room. They kind of look at it as like their time to like connect and relax and unwind together, because their kiddos are, most of them, getting multiple services. So, a lot of times they're there for, at least like an hour. But it's really special. And then when they do have to leave, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see them go. But getting to stay connected and get like those updates, whether it's through email or, again, like sometimes they're reaching out because they need their medical documents, and just getting to like connect of like, oh my gosh. And then you get to see like, a patient that you saw a year previously, where they're at now. It's really special. It's rewarding.
So we're going through this. I learned about you all through Nicole and that show, and I'll put the link in that in the chat here in a minute, because that was a great conversation with Nicole about what Elevate Health does. And I'm going through my day, doing my thing, thinking I do, and I get an email from you, Kristy, that says, "Hey, just so you know, there's a huge problem with Tricare reimbursement." And that just mystified me, because I served in the Marine Corps. I didn't have a family like the people you serve with in your work, but I did know one thing: if the Tricare wasn't right, nothing was right. You could have great base housing, great schools, whatever, but if the medical bills couldn't get paid, that caused a lot of stress. And so you're sitting there telling me about the fact that you're having problems getting Tricare to reimburse you, and by extension patients, for care, and it's causing problems. So kind of take us through that. What does that actually mean? Because I almost can't believe it. I mean, I know it's true, because I found out that, oh yeah, you're right, there is a problem, but it just baffles me. So take us through what that is, please.
Yeah. As former military family myself, it baffles me too, right? So using Tricare, went to Balboa Hospital and all the things in San Diego. Like I'm very familiar with the process. My husband was ironically military right here on our base. That's how we met. So what's happening right now is just Tricare transition to a new contractor who's helping them process all these claims. And it just got sticky. They're just struggling. I don't know a better way of putting it. The administrative load on them is, I think, just bigger than they could foresee when it initially happened. And again, in the grander scheme, obviously we're a teeny little guy, right? And there's very large clinics, there's very large practices, hospitals, you name it. And it's impacting all of us. It's not just us, right? There's many clinics who have had to shut down or at least start denying their military families related to this new selection of contractor that they chose and this transition that's not going so great. We're not there, and we're trying our best to keep it a mission of not getting there. But it is definitely a concern. Being what 50 some days out in the new year, still without proper claims or proper processing of insurance benefits, etc. So it's been rather stressful.
All right, so let me play this back for you, Marine Corps style, ma'am. Okay, a family comes to you for care. No problem. It's what you are. It's your core comps, what you're good at. And then a claim is submitted for treatment. It's not like civilian where, you might pay a copay with Tricare. I think you do. I'm not really sure, but in other words, the claim is submitted for treatment. And what's happening is either the family or yourselves are not getting reimbursed because of a backlog of work from the new processor. Is that kind of right?
In a nutshell, yeah, right. So you go to a doctor and a therapist, whoever it is, like you said, they file a claim. 9 times out of 10, obviously, you feel comfortable. You might have a co-insurance or a co-payment. Majority of our Tricare families do not, right? A majority of them are active. Right. We do have some retirees who obviously have a different benefit through Tricare, but our active members, there is no financial burden on them. That is the beauty of our military insurance. So we weren't really keeping them in the loop initially, right? We didn't want to put this burden on them. So we, on the back end, Donna and our amazing billing specialist, Christina, were working through this processing of claims, checking on all these online back end systems, and seeing them just kind of disappear, not show up at all, no explanation. And so the claims are not being finalized, and therefore physicians or therapists or other medical professionals ourselves are then not getting in return.
So the claim can't be processed, and there's no impact directly to the military family, but you all can't get paid. So the domino effect is eventually, with no payment, you can't provide services. What happens next?
Right. Again, I pulled the hearts with families and said, like, hey, again, it's our mission not to stop seeing you. But many have had to, especially they kind of gave it a deadline, end of February. And I can't believe we're even having this discussion. And it's the end of February. We will keep seeing them. There's rumors, there's gossip that this will be done end of March. For being such a small practice as I am, I don't know what the future holds. We're trying our best and communicating with as many government officials, Tricare, administrative individuals, etc., trying to do what we can to be the squeaky wheel so that we don't have to, have a disruption in our military families' treatment plans. That's our ultimate goal. We're still treating them, we're still evaluating them, we're still providing hearing aids for them, all these things that are huge financial tasks on us that I don't feel right to stop. I really just kind of would like better collaborative effort, I guess, really. And so we're kind of just in this wait and see pattern, kind of a hurry up and wait. So on our end, we're just kind of eating it because I can't do that to our families. So right now we're just taking it day by day.
Well, that's a thought going through my mind is if if the providers can't get paid, somebody has to eat that in the short term, and hope and pray that, you know, the money starts flowing. And it might be another month, well, actually, you know, 5 weeks before you start seeing what happened back in January start getting caught up. That must pose very real challenges to what you're trying to do, with some very, hey, you know, if we don't get some help, this is going to impact my business, and more importantly, the patients you take care of.
Right. Yeah. We and Anna can obviously speak to this a little bit better than I can at this juncture, but some of our patients, they're with us 3 to 5 hours a day, 6 hours, you know, all their different services. That really impacts their family's life if all of a sudden they have to, you know, provide that support without that clinical expertise to do that for their child. You know, so that, you know, it's just very concerning at this point. On our end, you know, we have over 800 claims unpaid. By the end of March, you know, there'll probably be closer to, you know, 1,300 claims unpaid, you know, so it's a lot. And that's just the claim. That's not even the financial number. So that's just the number of claims. Like, so imagine you went to the doctor over
Well, I'm just
800
saying
times, you
1,300
know,
times
from
a
now.
1,000, 13, and I'm getting kind of sick thinking about it. I mean, you can't
We
operate a
have,
business.
yeah, we have over $300,000 out there waiting for Tricare. And my staff just keep growing because I'm helping more military families. I'll continue doing that. But there has to be like some point, right? There has to be some responsibility, I think, at some point.
Well, my next question is, okay, Tricare is using a third party to help them process these claims. What is Tricare? What is this processor doing to acknowledge, like, yeah, we know there's a problem, and here we are? Are they communicating with you all? Are they giving you ETAs, ETCs for this resolution? Are they, because it doesn't, if you have to wait another 5 weeks to start getting January's claims paid for, it tells me that they're not going to get caught up anytime soon. I'm just, that's how I see it.
I think that's the frustrating part, is the lack of transparency and communication, especially in the beginning, right, about what was going on. So there was a memo sent out about the switchover. We had to complete paperwork, so that way, you know, we were prepared and ready for this switchover. So we did everything on our end, and then once January hit, and now it's like mid-January, because we knew there would be a slight delay, but once it got to like mid-January, now we're at end of January, and there's still like no actual answer on when this will be resolved. Myself and our billing coordinator were reaching out to Tricare to try and get answers on the status, and you call and they just send you from department to department to department. No real answer. So that's where it became frustrating after, you know, 30 days of like, okay, well, we need some kind of answer. We need you to communicate, be transparent and honest with us. So that's when we started, you know, I was joining Facebook groups, and I'm watching, and all these other clinics and providers are suffering from the same issues where, you know, they're talking about taking out loans just to, you know, pay their overhead for payroll, pausing services for Tricare patients. And even like Kristy mentioned, you know, the hardship of having to make the decision of like, my practice isn't going to make it. I'm going to have to close my doors if this doesn't get resolved. So I joined petitions for our company to try and help. There's news coverage on it. That's why, you know, we also did our outreach to you. And then on top of it, we reached out to our local congressman and our commissioner's office to try and see if they would help as well. That is the only time we actually had a rep reach out. She was a health system manager from Humana, which, you know, is Tricare. That was the only time I have actually had somebody, I guess I want to say, give hope. But the unfortunate thing is, I spoke to her my very first time on February 6th, and she had told me, you know, it's supposed to be resolved by February 14th. We're expecting all claims to be finalized, paid out. But here we are on February 26th, and I've been going back and forth with her almost daily. to still no real resolution. So that's where we're like, I almost feel like, she reached out. I'm sure her intention is to help, but, she's one woman behind a large issue going on. So it almost feels like I'm going to reach out to try and tell you the words that you want to hear to give you some kind of ease. But it's empty promises at this point. We're rolling into March, and yes. What I also find amazing is that most of our families had no idea that this was even going on, right? So them as a family, you can imagine hearing like, are you kidding me? You guys aren't getting paid by my insurance. So we did, finally get families involved, asking them, hey, would you mind writing a letter to help support this cause and trying to help us fight for a resolution, because this is what other clinics are having to do, and we really don't want to have to get to that point where we have to make that difficult decision. Tricare is half of our business. We would never want to do that, but at the same time, we need to take every action possible and get everybody on board trying to help us fight for this. So families were more than willing to call them, give them what they were feeling and give them their mind of like, what is going on? Why is my ABA provider not being paid for services now for almost 2 months? And why did I have no idea about it? So there is frustration from every direction. I don't know what it's finally going to take to get it resolved, but I do think that awareness is what needs to happen. So I think the more awareness we bring to it, the faster it puts the pressure on them to get this issue resolved.
Well, I'm just, I've done some, snooping around. I just got on their site again tonight, and I'm seeing that they were able to pay out a quarterly dividend to their shareholders at about 9 cents per share. I find that very interesting that the shareholders get taken care of, but the American families don't. So
interesting.
Yeah, right. So
Mm-hmm.
talk is cheap, but not really. So what I'm going to do is um, I want to rattle the cage from my end. I want to see what happens here. I just find that, we forget the administrations that are in office right now is these families take on a burden of service. And if you are serving our military in whatever you're doing, whether it's, cooking food or flying a plane or undersea, you can't be worried about this and do your job. That's the promise we make. And to me, if you can pay shareholders, and they did it February 24th on time, they can pay claims. So and I've had to do this before, is we'll get a little campaign going because when you all service clients, they're not all from the New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, right? They're from all across the nation. So that is to say
Right.
that there are elected officials who have constituents that you all take care of that aren't getting taken care of. And oh my God, I'm sorry about this cough, ladies. Tell me again, there are other entities like yourselves dealing with the same issue from Humana Tricare?
Thousands and thousands.
Some have already closed their doors. Some have also already stopped seeing military families and kept their doors open, but at least they know they were getting paid by Horizon or Cigna or AmeriHealth or Medicare, even Medicaid. To me, it's pretty frustrating that Medicaid is already a massive issue in my state, and yet they're getting paid. But our military families and insurance are the problem. So like Donna said, thousands across the nation. And again, it's not related, obviously, more rehab or allied health, therapeutically. It's not specific to that. It's psychotherapy, physicians, you name it, nutrition, any medical provider with an MPI, that submits to Tricare, potentially is not getting paid and has not got paid.
So one of the things I got to get my head around that I've been trying to the last couple of days looking at this is there's all kinds of news stories about other things with our government, but there's not a lot of bell ringing or warning signs going off about this issue. Either it's being cycled down in the news cycle, or it's just not seen as priority to raise in the news cycle. Which, if there are thousands of orgs like yours and thousands of people being affected by this, I'd have to think that somebody would want to know about this and say, hey, we're paying you to take care of our troops. Why isn't this happening? What am I missing here?
I feel like it's being kind of pushed under the rug, and people don't want to talk about it. So obviously I reached out to you, right? Full transparency. Our families are writing their letters. We've reached out, like she said, to the commissioner of insurance in New Jersey. I reached out to all of our local news entities, and nobody reached back out. So, and majority of the articles are more military based conglomerates. So there's very few like major network picking this up. So to me, it is very unique, exactly to your point of like, why isn't this getting better traction? And for that, I don't have an answer.
All right.
It's just unique that all thousands upon thousands of us can't find the right person to talk to.
Well, I mean, so hey, I'm looking on their site. They have their contact information. They sit there and say that they are part of the URAC award that they've gotten, where they met some kind of criteria. Yes, Utilization Review Advisory Committee, an accreditation organization for healthcare, and they're fully accredited through 2027. Well, it's raising all kinds of questions about where to go get the leverage. But I think to your point is there's not a point person to get the leverage to. But again, to me, I was done when I found that they were able to pay their shareholder dividend. If you can pay your shareholder dividend, you can take care of troops. So what you'll see from me, Kristy, and Donna, is I've done this before. We'll create a little campaign, and we'll start figuring out how we can find out who is going to help bring this to light. And I will talk about this every day until you get a satisfactory response. That's the promise here. This is not me just thumping my chest here. I'm like, I can't imagine, from your side, you want to provide services, but the money's running out. And you've got to wait another five weeks. So what happens when you can't pay your insurance company for the premium for the month? They cut you off within 3. I mean, it's an automatic thing, right? So I'm very upset about this, and I thank you for bringing this to light. What else can me and my listeners, what else can we do to help you all out? And not just you all, but the families, the patients you all serve.
I would say, if someone has been affected by it, to also contact your local representatives and different advocacy groups. I think the more people that bring it to light and put the pressure on, we'll see results from it and a resolution. I just feel like a lot of people, they're suffering from it, but they don't really know what steps to take. So I really encourage that outreach, because we did sit quiet, and we gave them that chance that they told us those 30 days. But once those 30 days passed, and then we weren't getting any further communication from them, and we did do that outreach. Again, we don't have a resolution, but I do have somebody from Tricare that is actively in contact with me every day. I'm hopeful that they are putting the pressure on trying to get it resolved. But, it makes me wonder, what about everybody else? What about all the other companies that aren't having that direct person that's in contact with them every day? Are they just on the back burner? I just encourage them to put up a fight.
Well, to me, this is just, if you can't do this right, why would you want to join the military? And if you're in the military and you're suffering with this, why wouldn't you want to get a civilian career with a traditional, HMO or PP? Was it PPO? Yeah, a PPO provider.
Yeah.
Right, and just forego all this trouble. Or if you're in your shoes, you know what, this military thing is just not working out for me. I'm going to cease taking care of military families and not to deal with this anymore. That's kind of how I see this. And it has to be troubling for you both because you both were military yourselves. You understand what these people are going through, and it must, not so much on the business side, but emotionally have a toll on you both and the rest of your team.
It's something that again, like I said earlier, it's something that I can't bring myself to do. Donna and myself, and like I said, our billing specialist, we've had meetings now every week. Donna and Christine meet every day, honest with you, right? But I'm putting out some fire, meet every day about this. I don't have it in me to stop. I don't know if I'm gonna have the same conversation if we're literally talking about this 2 months from now. But I can't. Like I can't. So we'll keep fighting. We'll ask families to keep writing letters, to keep making phone calls, to keep reaching out to the representatives, your insurance commissioner at your state level. Again, that was a huge help. I'm not sure what the next steps are. Like Don said, we were promised 30 days back, like a week and a half into January, right? And then we were promised like a week or two in February. And now here we are knocking on the door of March. I'm fortunate enough that I'm not pulling the loans like most companies, but my future's numbered and I have to be very mindful, holistically for the company.
So give me a day or two to get a strategy together. I have some questions I want to ask you offline because I don't want to put you in a HIPAA, position where you have to betray HIPAA. I don't want you to have to do that. But for what it's worth, my voice will be added to this to raise the temperature from my end. And to me, it's just like, well, hey, if the shareholders get a hold of this, to me, that's just, I keep going back to that. You can pay the shareholders on time. We can't pay.
Trust me, I'll be Googling it. I'll be finding it. I'll be figuring it out. There will be some new traction that we try to make as of 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Well, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you all the way.
Yeah.
And there's a certainly concern on all levels. So what I'm hearing is we have to find out where to hit the leverage to get some traction going on this. It's going to be sustained effort, no problem. We can do a sustained environment, no problem. And I certainly hope that we're not having this conversation in 2 months. I would like to hear, and tomorrow, yeah, right. But seriously, in the next couple of weeks, that there is starting to be the ship righted, if you will.
Yes, us as well.
All right, folks. Look, this is, usually I like to have on, feel good shows and people overcoming adverse odds and overwhelming, problems and challenges, and they get through it. But hey, ours who are serving now need our help. This is not the only company dealing with this. These are two women who understand what it's like being a military family, and they want to provide a high level of care. So I gave my word. We're going to help them out, and you're going to hear a lot more about this from me. Kristy and Donna, I just want to thank you for coming on and talk with me so openly and candidly tonight. It certainly, grew my perspective about the scope of the problem. And you're right. Nobody who serves our country should have to deal with this. And certainly you all shouldn't make a choice like this, whether to close down shop or cease providing services to military families. It should be taken care of. It should be taken care of. So I'm here to help, and that's my promise to you both.
I
really appreciate that. Yeah, we globally, amongst Elevate and our families, we really appreciate that. It really means a lot to us.
So this is Travis Oscar Mike Radio. I'm gonna put this on the website, get this out to other people, and give me a day or two to get the my campaign going. And we're gonna ask the question: how can shareholders get paid, but military families can't? It is, or providers can't. And hopefully we get some answers. So again, check it out here. You'll be hearing about this a whole lot, and I'll have a way to participate and advocate for those of us who are taking care of these people. So again, Kristy and Donna, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.